Have you ever dreamed of just trying out living in a new place, a new town, a new city, or maybe even a new country? Well, today I'm going to talk about small towns in the USA. I have been feeling a real draw to small towns lately. And so I don't know about you, but I'm going to explore some and share a few today in today's episode. Welcome to Solo Travel Adventures. I'm Cheryl Esch, your travel coach and host for this podcast. Well, small towns have just been calling my name for some reason, but I don't know about you. It seems like wherever we've grown up, we tend to stick to living in that type of area. For example, maybe you grew up in the country and so you're used to living out in the countryside, or maybe you grew up living in the city. Or for me, I grew up living in the suburbs. And as I look at all the places that I have lived, they have mostly been suburbs of bigger cities. And that's what I have grown accustomed to in where I live. But when I go to explore, for example, I don't go to explore suburbs, to be honest. I go to explore cities, countries, and right now, small towns just seem to be calling my name. And the thing about being in this season of my life is I do have the opportunity, if I chose, to move wherever, because most people, when they've gotten to this point of empty nest, possibly, whether you're single or a couple, you don't necessarily have to stay where you're at. Some people find that they downsize. And with that downsizing might come the opportunity to move to a different city, establish a different lifestyle. Especially as we get older, I'm less drawn to the chaos of city life and the humdrum of suburban life, sorry to say. Been there, done that, so to speak, and desire something of a slower pace. Some people, when they get to empty nest, they like to move where their kids maybe have moved to. That is also an opportunity to explore and move. I have a client of mine who has a desire to live. She lives in a suburb of Dallas, as I do, and she really wants this city life. She really wants to live in a big city where she can pretty much walk to everything. A walkable city, but also a big city. And so she would love to move to Boston. What she did, I think, is brilliant. So before she actually has taken the step to move there, she decided to spend a whole month in Boston, living in the city, in the dead of winter, because if you don't love Boston in the winter, you're not going to love it the rest of the year either. And going in the summer is very different than the winter. And Boston, if you are from the US, know that it does experience longer periods of cold weather, and very cold, and lots of snow and ice and stuff. But she still loved it, which was a great testing ground. And I love that idea. And so I have also started to explore visiting small towns, driving around them, staying there. And the most recent one that I did was in Jefferson, Texas. Now, Jefferson, Texas is a small town about 3 hours east of Dallas. And it is such a quaint town. It is that idyllic Main Street. It's got your general store and antique shops galore. But not just your old antique stuff. It even has a couple places that I would categorize more so like your garage sale, yard sale kind of shops. It has older stuff, but not so much antique stuff. So just exploring the old, right? And the town is really surrounded by a lot of bed and breakfast places. There is a slower pace People are so friendly. I made reservations at a restaurant and then came back later that day and was greeted by name. The lady at the bar was like, "Hi, Cheryl, how are you?" And it just was very welcoming. And that is the generalization of small towns. But you might be asking, well, really, what does make up a small town? What categorizes a small town? Small towns are typically, there's a population, depends on how small of a small town you want to get. So in general, a small town is about 10,000 or less. If you're looking at more of that rural community, that's going to be under 2,500 residents. Then you get to a larger small town, which would be up to about 25,000 residents. And there's few buildings, traffic is light, there's more land, it's very spread out possibly, and it's quieter, right? And that is what's been drawing me to these small towns. And there's maybe one grocery store, a few local restaurants, not your chains, and that's what I love about the idea of small towns. I'm not saying I'm going to move there, but it just gave me a feel for what it might be like. So I stayed in a bed and breakfast. The owner was super nice and has lived all over the world, all over the country, I should say. And so has been in Jefferson, Texas for 15 years, running that B&B. Just very nice town. Some others that I have actually been to in the past that are also considered small towns that, again, I really, really loved. For example, I ended up, when I was doing my New England sort of road trip to see the fall foliage, I ended up in Woodstock, Vermont, that is, not to be confused with the Woodstock, but it was cute otherwise. I was hoping it was the real Woodstock, but it was not. It's Woodstock, Vermont. It is actually classified and named the prettiest small town in America. Now, Woodstock only has about 3,000 residents, and it's got the 19th century brick buildings, the federal style homes, covered bridges is what drew me, because that's what I was actually driving around and exploring when I stumbled upon this little small town. Great little local shops, a few restaurants, and it is set within the Green Mountains. So if you like outdoor stuff, you like nature, Vermont Woodstock is a small town in the U.S. Another one that I've been to, not too far from where I lived for a long time in Ohio, was Chagrin Falls, Ohio. And I never really realized that this was considered a small town because it is nestled between a lot of bigger towns, bigger cities even. So it's a little drive from Cleveland, Ohio, and a little drive from Akron, Ohio. But the surrounding area of Chagrin Falls is very suburban. So there's lots of suburban areas that kind of surround Chagrin Falls. But Chagrin Falls itself, this cute little community, it's only 4,000 residents. And it has a beautiful walkable downtown area. I remember when I was there, it had lots of boutiques, galleries, and theaters, and that's partly why I was there, was for the theater part, the galleries, and the boutiques. And it just was magnificent with this waterfall in the center of town. And it's just a walkable downtown. So cute. If you love doing photography, and again, it's not far from Cuyahoga Falls National Park, and there's trails to walk as well nearby, but very nice little town. And it's tucked between a lot of the bigger little suburban areas in the Cleveland, Ohio area. So very cute. And I get my little side note, I get my eye cream from Chagrin Falls, Ohio, which is the other reason why I knew where it was as well. Another small town I have been to is Harper's Ferry, West Virginia. Now, this town has a lot of history. It has beautiful river views, and it's actually a place where the Potomac and the Shenandoah rivers actually meet. And so there's this bridge that overlooks the rivers. It has great river views, outdoor hiking, but again, this little quaint, charming town, again, featuring 19th century. It's 70 miles from DC, and it's also part of what I love about it was the Appalachian Trail sort of just comes right through that area, and it's a great stopping point for those that are walking the Appalachian Trail. But the history behind Harper's Ferry is it is a famous site of John Brown's fort. It borders 3 states. So actually when I went through all 3. There's West Virginia and Maryland all kind of meet there in that area. But Harper's Ferry itself is considered in West Virginia. And the population is very tiny, and it's between about 250 to 300 as far as the population. So that is really small town. And there's just a lot of history there, Civil War history, outdoor adventures as well. So if you live in kind of the DC, Baltimore area, or you're in Maryland even, this could be a short little day trip or a weekend trip to get away and check out a little bit of a small town feel. Now, the last one I'm going to highlight, I actually have not been there, but my parents have been there. And it got me intrigued when they were telling me about this a long time ago when they went to visit. And I still would like to go because it's called Mackinac Island in Michigan. It is an island off of Michigan coast. It's on Lake Huron, and it is famously known because there are no cars allowed on the island. You must take a ferry across to get to the island. People will walk, people will bike. There are horses or horse-drawn carriages that people will also utilize for transportation. But it's such a quaint town that you seriously wouldn't need a car. There are boats. You can take some boat tours because, of course, it's right there on the water. It has the historic military fort, which is built in 1780. And it's just so low-key. You can imagine without cars how quiet it is and just how peaceful that time away could be. But I will also mention they are famous for their fudge. So if you like fudge, go to Mackinac Island in Michigan. And it's way, way up there at the far northern tip of Michigan. So summer is the best time to go, of course. And these are just a few of some small towns. Most of them I have been to. And I will continue to explore this small town idea because it is drawing my heart. And I have I'm in a position right now where if I desired to move to a small town, then I certainly could. But I think I will do what my client did. And before I actually move, go and spend some extended time there and just see how you might fit with the culture, see how you fit with the town. Are you able to live with just one grocery store? And are you able to not have a Target or Walmart nearby all the time? And that would just be certainly something to test out before you maybe make that big jump or leap. But whether or not you're in a position to move, I encourage, if you're looking for a way to slow things down for you, mentally, physically, spiritually, going to a small town might be your answer. It does offer that peace and quiet. In many places, it's secluded and you're not distracted by noise or just lots to see, right? In a small town, there's not a whole lot to see. When I went to Jefferson, literally, maybe I was downtown for 3 hours, and then I went back. I checked in to my B&B, then I went back for the evening time, and then did a little walk, a little hike. So it may not take you several days to explore that small town, but to get a sense of that feel, I encourage you to stay more than one day, maybe a weekend, and reset. For me, it was a total reset for me. And I hope that if that's something that you're looking for, that you will consider small towns. Now, I'm highlighting U.S. small towns, but I can tell you, I know in other countries, especially England and in Italy, there are a lot of small towns that are on the countryside that could be drivable for you if you live in those countries. So in your country, explore where are these small towns and could you spend some time there to reset? Okay, sister travelers, get out there and have that adventure.
Did this podcast inspire you to participate in a solo journey? Well, my hope is that all women 50 and up have the courage and opportunity to experience at least one solo trip in their lifetime. But maybe you're feeling stuck about trying it solo. With my one-on-one travel coaching program, I can help you have a transformative trip, especially for those who are needing healing. Go to my website, CherylBeckEsch.com, and check out the program. Travel is a wonderful vehicle to heal.